Hey guys, it's Moonhorse. I sorry, I had to make sure I'm recording through the microphone. I wanted to do a quick little update podcast, whatever thing. To tell you guys, today was actually a pretty wild day. So, as some of you probably already know, the 23rd of September was my birthday, so I decided afterwards, because I took the night off to basically just sleep. I've been recording shit almost nonstop. I think last night, I started recording more stories by our friend Princess America, and I think I recorded from around 11:30 till almost 5 in the morning, and I couldn't talk, so I was worn out. So I decided instead of working through this afternoon and doing some stuff tonight or whatever, I would record a few little things tonight. But mostly I'm trying to take a little time off to recover. I don't sound the greatest. But I wanted to address two things. One is that I never really told you guys anything about my recording process, which some of you have picked up on and asked me questions about, and I've said in comments some of it. But I've never actually gone on record to say what I'm doing. Okay. So when I record shit like this, or when I record stream of consciousness stuff, like if I read something and I'm going to talk about it, I tend to use, for all my recordings, I use this microphone I'm using now, which is a handheld shotgun mic, which is mostly used for vocal recording when it comes to music. It's a USB Logitech microphone, but it's all forward. It's also the reason if I don't hold it a certain way, you can kind of hear air hit it. It doesn't have a pop filter. There's a reason for that too. So, I tend to get really animated when I talk about shit like this or when I'm trying to clear my head. And it's probably a terrible habit. But when I talk about shit like this, I pace. I end up moving around. I spend most of the time recording stuff that is not a game on my feet. I don't sit down. I don't know why. I just have always done that. It's something that helps me clear my head and think better. It's always been like that. I honestly couldn't tell you why. It's just a thing I've always done. So I did notice, or it was brought to my attention and by a viewer who I don't know if they really want me to say their name. So you know who you are. I'm not gonna out you. That a couple of people, not just this one person, but like a couple of other people I know, are like, sometimes when you get really animated in these things, you're recording stuff, you kind of sound winded. It's like, it's because I'm pacing frantically. I'm doing it now. I'm unconsciously doing it now. I'm trying not to, but it's really hard. I really don't know why I do that, but it is a thing, and that's kind of why I sound the way I do, and that's why the audio kind of jumps back and forth sometimes, just because I'm moving. But it does help me think a lot better. My computer setup is, for recording, stories and podcasts and reactions, stuff like that. It's a 2-monitor setup. So I have my laptop, which is, it's okay. It's not the greatest laptop in the world, but it does exactly what I want it to do when it comes to stuff like this, so it's perfect. And then I have this big TV that a friend of mine gave me. And it's got this big HD input, but it's too tall to keep it in my house. I don't have a stand that would be adequate to put it, because it would either sit really, really high or really low, and it just really wouldn't work. But it works great out here. So, and honestly, it's perfect, because it's really big, so it's easy to read. So I usually display whatever story I'm reading on the big screen, and then the small screen has my audio output with my wave spectrum and all that kind of stuff, so I can see how good all this sounds. I would be recording this with a camera, except I left my camera in the house because I really didn't think I would need it. So, I mean, if you really want to see it, I can show you. It's not that great of a setup. It's just like a hodgepodge nonsense all pulled together. So, yeah, this is also the same place when I like watch shows or movies for reviewing or anything like that. I usually watch it here because I've got a better setup, better sound, all that kind of stuff. It's a multimedia center kind of thing. So it works good for this kind of stuff. And there's a thoroughfare for the aforementioned pacing, which I'm doing again. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it really does. So, yeah, I guess it doesn't make any sense because I don't know why I thought you guys would just know. Really looking at it, and I'm really glad this was kind of brought to my attention, but really looking at it, like, yeah, I never explained that. That's really stupid. I really should have explained that. So yeah, if it sounds weird, that's because I have like this frantic thing and I do that. So, God damn it, I'm doing it again. Yeah, there's like a thing about, I don't know, I do shit like this. I do weird shit. But that's not really the huge, most important part of what I wanted to tell you. I wanted to give you the kind of basic insight as to what I'm doing. Kind of, this is why things sound like this, why things talk like that. Oh, I should say this too before they come out. Because they will be coming out soon. I did do a bunch of gaming videos with the capture card. And I learned very quickly that my audio system is kind of weird. It doesn't capture properly, so when certain games come out, the audio is going to sound a little weirdly pitched. It's because I have to adjust the gain. Because it's just, this microphone works really great if you're less than an inch from it. But if you're like over here, this is about like 4 inches away. Yeah, no, you can't. Okay, so this is like a foot right about here, I think. And this is getting closer, and you can tell like the audio quality only sounds really good when I get about here. And this is like really close to the side of my head. So, and this is the only microphone I have with a really long cord, so this is the one I'm going to use. And someone is texting me in the middle of the fucking night. What the hell? Whatever. It's not important. So, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of weird audio stuff, but I changed it. I raised some of the levels and made it sound a little bit better. I redid some stuff. Hopefully it doesn't sound terrible. You guys will be able to, you can be the judge of that. I hope it's not bad, but this is all kind of burying the lead for something that came out later. So, like I said, the other day was my birthday, and I decided today, after working, I took that day off to rest, and then today it was just like, I never, this is kind of sad, but it's like, I didn't get myself anything, and that's kind of like, that'd be like one of two gifts I got, because I don't really know a lot of people, aside from you guys, so, but I don't expect anything. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to take today, I'm going to go treat myself and do something that the Moonhorse wants to do. Within reason, go crazy. I ordered some shit online. I got a new shirt. It's not here yet. I'm still waiting. And I'm going to get some other stuff. Like, I really need better headphones and shit like that, but whatever. It's not a rush, That's the thing, is I don't want to buy stuff that I don't... It'd be nice to have, but it's not like a rush to have. Just, I don't know, shit like that. Little things. So, anywho, that's not the point. So the point was I'm going to go, there's this store a couple towns over from here in Hammond. There's a, how do I describe it? It's like a grocery store, but, oh, shit. Sorry, my timer on my tablet just went off and it was really soft and it kind of freaked me out. I didn't know what the hell that noise was. So, there's this kind of like grocery store that originated in Thibodaux, as far as I know, and they built a branch out here. Well, in Hammond. But point is, it's a really, really nice place. They always have an incredible selection of a lot of stuff. And the reason this place is so good, because it's like, well, Moonhorse, why do you care about a grocery store? Well, there's also a large selection of Moonhorse's favorite things. They have a very, very nice wine section. So I decided today I was going to do two things, well, three things specifically. I was going to go to the mall because, I don't know, I was going to kick around the bookstore, see if they have anything good there. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And I had to go to, some electronics stores. I really need to get a new phone. Mine is, the screen's all fucked up and shit. But, it still makes calls and plays music, so I'm not hugely worried about it as long as it keeps doing the thing I need it to do. So then, the next one was I was going to go to this place called Rouse's, which is the store I was telling you about, and peruse their wine section for a bit. And speaking of wine section, actually I have another story about that. And then the third one was, as this is such a fucking weird thing to say, but this is absolutely true. I was going to go to dinner by myself at, and I'm not kidding, Golden Corral, because I am that much of a dork. I just wanted a big-ass buffet. That's really all I wanted. A big-ass buffet that wasn't just Chinese food, because we have a Chinese buffet in town, and there's 5 in Hammond. So it's I just need some variance. Chinese food is great. Don't get me wrong. But I've eaten it so much. I just need a break. So, yeah, this is going to be a really lame Moonhorse does shit by himself because, I don't really have any friends kind of story. And before I launch into the rest of the story, I do want to say this. The other night, for my birthday, I decided I'm going to get myself something nice. I want wine, obviously. I'm taking the night off. I'm definitely going to get shit-faced. So, I was like, you have enough cash, have a little influx, a little something. Buy yourself something nice. It's your birthday. You only turn 900 once. I'm not 900. So, I don't know why I clarified that, as if you'd believe me. So I decided I'm going to buy myself something nice. And I'm at the store, and I see this it's a big metal tin. Big circular metal tin. It's just big black tin with this gold lettering, big crown on it, and it says Stella Rosa Imperial Black Lux Sparkling Wine. Well, that sounds pretty goddamn good. I'm down for this. Let's get some of this. So I got myself some. It's a little more than I wanted to spend on it, but it was pretty good. It was only after I got it home that I realized this isn't just wine. It's, sparkling wine, so it's a champagne. I don't know why, for the life of me, I did not put 2 and 2 together that this was a champagne. I honestly have no idea. But it's times like this that I realize that your friend Moonhorse is very glad sometimes that there isn't a face cam or some kind of studio camera to record some of the antics that he gets up to. Because I get this thing home and I had to get it open. And then I noticed the big, secured twist-on cap and the giant cork. And it's like, oh, okay. So I have to figure out how to get this thing off. And the last time I had champagne, my plan was I went, because I knew how much pressure, there's a shitload of pressure behind that cork. So I was like, let's go outside. That way nothing happens. Well, I didn't really have that option because it was kind of sort of storming in and out of the night. It's just like, all right, well, I don't really want to go out on the porch because it's really gross and humid and rainy. And I just don't want to do it. So we're going to open this in the studio. So I'm watching some shit on YouTube. I don't know, some symposium on Chris Chan, if you can believe it. There's a huge thing that the link is actually left on my screen because I was flipping through stuff. It's by Ben Saint. It's actually really good. Not as comprehensive as the entire history of Chris Chan documentary that was done, which is really good. But anyway, so I'm watching some goofy shit. That's not the point. And I'm trying to, just gonna push behind the cork and it'll just pop right off. It's not popping off. Okay, so we just twist it a little bit and we'll push some more and it'll pop right off. It's not popping off. Okay, I'm going to get the flat end of my knife here, and I'm just going to push it, kind of leverage it out a little bit, and then we'll push it the rest of the way. It ain't fucking moving. So then I start worrying, like, oh shit, man, did I just waste money on a thing I can't open? I don't want to put a corkscrew in this because I get the impression that's how bottles explode. So I was like, all right, we're gonna keep twisting it and fucking with it until it comes off. Which is eventually what starts to happen. It starts to loosen. It twists this way, twists that way. It starts coming up. Okay, so we're gonna stand on the other side of the room because there's a lot of pressure. We're gonna shoot this thing. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Got enough space. It'll be fine. So I'm on the other side of the room. Got this fucking bottle like tipped up so it doesn't spill when it opens. But it's braced on my leg for some reason because I need both hands to kind of, push it. So it's, okay, this will be okay. And I just keep telling myself that, it'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. It's the worst that could happen. That is the worst question you could ever possibly ask. Don't ever say that. So finally, the cork comes loose with about the sound of a small gunshot, flies across the room, hits the aluminum outer door of my office, ricochets back and nails me right in the chest. So I didn't leave a mark, thankfully, but I mean, what are the fucking odds? I mean, seriously. So yeah, that happened. So that was one of the... After that, I mean, I just drank it, so the rest of the night was kind of blasé. Nothing really happened, but I thought that was kind of funny that in the process of trying to celebrate my own birthday with champagne, I managed to hit myself in the chest with a cork. Because I'm a professional. So, the next... I guess, I don't know, the story about this. The next story is... As I said before, today was going to be my day off to kind of recover my voice, so I wouldn't talk to many people. I just wanted to go around for a bit. Little things here and there. As I'm going to check the mail, I'm having to double back around because there's this big train. There's train track runs clean through town. Post office is on one side of the tracks. I live on the other. So, okay, I was going to go to the furthest down little, crossover. Because there's like 5, but 3 that run through downtown proper. So it's like, we'll go down to the third one. But as I'm getting there, there's already a line. So it's like, all right, well, let me go down, make a block, and then come back. So I go down and make a block. I'm turning back around. This truck parks, and I know whose house it is. This truck parks there, and as soon as the door opens, it's our friend Kay. And he's getting out of the truck. I have not seen him in fucking forever, you guys. So it's like, okay. I waved to him, and then he's like, hey, come over. He's like waving me over. I was like, all right. Fuck it, I got nothing else to do. So I pull into his driveway, and we start talking for a bit, and like, I'm going to do this, and go run some errands, just, kick around, do some stupid shit. The usual nonsense. And he's like, well, I got nothing to do. Can I come with you? Sure. So I spent the entire afternoon with Kay, which was honestly not nearly as bad as it had been. So Kay kind of surprised me. The last time I heard, he was in school, but I didn't know what was going to come of that. Well, apparently his whole thing about wanting to be an English teacher and work for like writing centers and things like that, yeah, he's doing it. He's pursuing this dream. That's what he's going for. And he's actually doing some pretty good work. I'm impressed. The unthinkable had happened. Like, he doesn't really look much different. He's still got the massive amount of curly hair. The same kind of attire. Like, really, that hasn't changed. But the thing that got me was he did something that I didn't think a neckbeard could do, dear children. It shocked me. He said the following phrase, because for some reason we got on the subject of internet things, and he had to start talking about how much he hates SJWs and feminists and so on and so forth, and I'm just like, Okay? Like, look, I can give you 100 different opinions on 100 different things, but let's be completely honest here. I tend to be more, I guess you could call me like a lefty fucking weirdo, but truth is, I'm also kind of an anarchist, which means I believe in your wonderful, shining principles, but at the same time, I also know how people are, and sometimes that just doesn't work. So, I'm trying to be nice, but he says, goes on this thing, and I said something about, like, I don't remember how the fuck this came up, but I said something about, like, you gotta watch some of those things around the people the people you know, or something like that. And he's like, oh yeah, I know, I can't talk about this at work, that's why I don't bring it up there. You have to be subtle. The Neckbeard has learned subtlety. My God, he sounds like an adult. I'm floored. I am impressed. It's like, okay. He was relatively eloquent, and all things considered, it was a super fun time. Actually, I had a really good time, which is weird, but yeah, it was actually not a bad time. But I did do something, and I think it's because I tended to avoid Neckbeard triggery. The feminists, women, so on, and shit like that. It's just like, we're not gonna do that. I'm gonna lean away from that as far as possible, and basically just discuss, current events and things that happened, and so on and so forth. Generally trying to just be nice, and that worked. But I will say the best thing about that night was, despite all the funny, weird things that going to different stores and telling stupid stories and shit like that, the best part was I was like, I'm gonna go do the old folk thing, because I is an old folk, and hit up the Golden Corral for dinner. And he said someplace that was near the college, like down by the campus. And I was like, yeah, I've been there, but it's a pizza place, but the pizza's really expensive, and it's not as great as everybody says it is. And it's like, plus, I want a buffet. I want a lot of food. Sometimes you just need a lot of food. You know how that is. It doesn't matter what your weight is. It doesn't matter if you're like 500 pounds or like 50 pounds. Sometimes you wake up and you're like, I'm going to eat the entire refrigerator. It just has to happen. I'm sorry in advance, but I must consume all of humanity now. And I was having one of those moments. Most of the times I eat once a day and it's like a sandwich. But sometimes it's just like I need to eat like everything. I don't know why. I just do. So, there's probably like some kind of medical reason. I don't fucking know. Anywho, point is that I'm like, no, dude, we're going to go to Golden Corral. Trust me. Trust me, you're going to like it. So it got slightly into that old K way where it's just like, I don't know. And I was like, trust me, it's going to be amazing. It was. It absolutely was. Because they have it all set up and everything's all out there. We went in there, and those of you who haven't been, first off, there's a reason. Who the fuck? There is a reason people tend to gravitate to places like that. And I know it seems strange, because it's like, why? But there is absolutely a reason for that. And the reason is, it's sometimes like a hidden thing that you just don't think about because it's not the cool thing to think about, or it's not the hip thing, or not the popular, or whatever the fuck. But then when you discover it, you're like, why the fuck didn't I come here sooner? This is amazing. So for those of you who haven't been to Golden Corral, let me take a few minutes. They're not sponsoring this, by the way, to just basically sing their praises. And you can thank Sango for exposing me to them, because I've never been to Golden Corral until this. So basically, it's a fucking huge buffet full of, like, everything. They have a full-on barbecue station. They just make, like, steaks and shit all the time. Just every vegetable you can think of. Seafood. Taco bowls. Everything. And then, as I pointed out when we were in there, I was like, they have a dessert buffet. And he's like, a dessert bar? And I was like, no, a dessert buffet, a full-on dessert buffet. And if you'll direct your attention to the left, that is not just a large statue, my friend. That is a chocolate fondue fountain. Oh, yeah. It's as cool as it looks. So, the entire time it's just like they have all this stuff, and then Kay leaves. We separate, go get food. So I'm like sitting there. I get back first. I wanted pasta. They had big ass spaghetti thing. I'm like, fuck yeah, hit this shit. It's gonna be awesome. So I'm sitting there, and he comes back with this plate with like loaded mashed potatoes and like 9 different kinds of meat. And he gives me the most amazing look, like this shocked and excited look. And he's like, they have bacon wrapped steak. And I was like, yeah, they do. And he's like, how did I not know this place exists? Like, that's what I said too. Like, that's not fair. This was like a secret, and they kept it from me, and I don't like it. So, yeah, we just ate like huge amounts of food because fuck it, whatever. I got 3 different kinds of wine from the Rouses. One is amazing. It's just a big ass bottle of Merlot. I do love me some Merlot. Red's my weakness. I also got me a big ass bottle of sake, which I haven't had in a while. Really happy about that. And oh shit, this other stuff, which I don't think I can reach because it's in my refrigerator chilling. But first I had to see, because the name alone, I'm looking at the Rouse's. When I said they have a wine section, I don't mean they just have like a place they put all these different bottles of wine. I mean, they're broken up into types. So we're on the aisle just for Merlot, aka heaven, and I see this bottle and it's just called Savage. Alright, it's pretty edgy. What's the fucking thing about? What are we looking at here? And it's like, it's like this mocha flavored Merlot mixed with vanilla hints and soft undertones of coffee. I think I just came. It's like, yeah, I bought it. I fucking absolutely bought it. Apparently there's a bottle of Apothic Red that does the same thing, but it was way too expensive, so I didn't get it. But I was super tempted. There is another type of wine which I absolutely want to try, and if anybody has, tell me what you think of it. But I'm going to tell you the name. It's called like Viking's Blood, and it looks really interesting, and it's got a very, classic looking bottle, very, stylistic, and I'd like to try it. That shit is $25 a fucking bottle. That is too much goddamn money. I couldn't do that. So, I didn't do that, but I also discovered something while I was there, because we're looking at bottles, and we wander over into the white wine section, because I cannot believe this. Kay is only slightly younger than me. And I'm like, so which, we're looking at wines, and I'm like, so which one's your favorite? And he's like, I think I've only had like Bud Light. My God. How do you survive? Like, I don't understand this. But then again, maybe weirdly, in a kind of Neckbeard or former Neckbeard way, he's more well-adjusted than I am. Because I know that every now and then, the main thing that hits me, and I don't know about you guys, but I do have this from time to time, is my depression has mostly moved away. And the only time it comes back is in weird, like, strange moments, which I'll explain in a minute. But first let me talk about the wine. So I find this, we're looking at white wines now, because I really don't have a huge like of them, but I found Rouse's sells bottles, big bottles, of honeyed mead, and little teabag kits with it that can turn it into spiced wine honeyed mead. I think I know what I'm getting for Christmas. Oh yeah, I'm excited. That looks really fucking cool. I didn't get it this time around because it's like a lot of the stuff that I was seeing on it, they're like, it's best served hot. It's too damn hot for that. So, next time. So I actually do want to really try that because I've never had mead before. Which is weird, but one would think as many times as I've been to a Renaissance fair, you'd try it at least once, but usually I'm the designated driver. So, yeah, I don't get it. But I was going to try it next time. I have it bookmarked, a little push pin in my head. So, this is what I mean by switching gears entirely and talking about this. Moonhorse's mental health state. Yes, the depression is still there. It didn't go away. I'm always going to have depression. But mostly these days, it manifests in very sporadic and weirdly specific bouts of existential dread. I don't know why. It's never usually, the thing where it's like nobody... I don't have the depressing thought where it's like nobody cares and nobody really likes you. It's like, no. I can easily push that away by saying I have several close friends who like me, and all you guys who obviously must think something of me since you subscribe to this. So, no, there are people who can hear me. It's not that. I have weird bouts of existential dread where I'm having to counter with, actual logic, which is really difficult because if you know anything about depression, it don't play by the logic game. So, every now and then I'll have, weird fears where it's just yeah, well, you're getting old and you're just going to be dead one day. Fuck, dude, don't do that. Don't fucking do that. So, I have moments like that, but then logic has to come back in and counter these things, and that's how I help push it mostly away, is I have a lot of logistical arguments where it's oh, well, you're in your 30s now, so you're middle-aged. It's only middle-aged if one assumes that you're not going to live past 60, and we know that that's not really the case anymore. It's considered middle-aged because of marketing trends, and to get a little fucking marketing management for you. So for those of you who are having issues with this and think that you're middle-aged or that you're old, I want you to think about this. The only reason that middle-aged was ever brought up or said in any way, shape, or form is specifically because, right, the 2 decades before you had either no taxes to pay when you're a teenager, so you have a lot of, not a lot, but some have lots of expendable cash, thus things are marketed to them. And if you're in your 20s, and this is true, companies know that sometimes you will either make a bad decision or have no choice but to make said bad decision. Nobody wants to go into debt over student loans, but how you going to pay for that college, though? So they intentionally put you up against the wall. And I'm noticing this specifically, and it's weird because it manifests itself in video game form a lot for me, where it's I was a super Sony fan back in the day. If Sony sold a thing, I was going to buy the thing. And I was yeah, I like Sony, I like things they make, so I'm going to buy the thing. But the PS2, I bought that. And the PS3, I eventually had to get that because, well, it took a little longer because, it was a little more expensive. And then the PS4 came out, but now I'm older, and it's just the PS4 is out, and it plays games in high def. So does the PS3. Well, this plays different games. How are they different? What do they do? Well, they're newer. This machine is almost $500. You're going to have to do better than the game is newer. Because $500, my friend, can buy me a very cheap car. And that can take me to actual physical locations. You're going to have to try harder. I'm sorry, that's a lot of money. I need you to work a little harder at this. Basically, if Sony came out tomorrow and they're we put a bunch of add-ons on the PS4 so it plays games, movies, streams live internet stuff, makes coffee, and it'll cook you dinner. Sold? Okay. I need you to do actual help things around here. Can you get a job to pay that $500 bill, though, PS4? Can you get a job, though? Because I can't afford you. And if you're going to live here, you might have to pay rent. So, it changes when you get older. Priorities shift because, well, the economy sucks. So we're trying to save every penny we can. Blah, blah, something, something economy. Point is, yeah, most of my issues that I have are existential dread, which I'm realizing are being brought on by exterior forces that exacerbate the entire idea, because And this is the big thing. Because I don't feel old at all. I don't feel any different than I did when I was like, I don't know, 21. I feel like I'm probably in a little bit better shape. I feel like I'm a little bit more stable. I make a few better decisions. A few, not many. Probably a little more drunk than I would be, but I don't feel decrepit. I don't feel like I can't do things. I used to have a lot of issues with my lower back, but then I also realized, yeah, but you also had issues with the lower back because you spent roughly 7 years on a bed that had a hole the size of a pumpkin in the box spring, so you weren't exactly on a good bed. Now that I actually have a good one, it's like, oh yeah, I don't have back problems that much anymore. Suddenly that's all better. So no, it really wasn't that. It was because, I was basically torturing myself. So, yeah. Why all of a sudden does that mean a thing? Why is this whole midlife crisis thing a thing? It's like, well, money. If you feel old and you're told that your 20s is the only time that's good for you and you can't achieve anything through then, well, then you're going to spend more money to achieve those, young people dreams. Because you didn't really need them, so you didn't have the stuff to do it. And now they're telling you have to. Look, and maybe it's because I didn't really change too much, I guess, inside, except now I do slightly different things. I've never been to well, no, I take that back. I have been to like 2 clubs. One would consider a club. I hated it. Been to a lot of concerts. A lot of weird parties. Weird parties are the best. But no, I've never been the kind of person who's like, you gotta go to a bar and pick up chicks, man. It's like, I drink alone because I dislike most people. Sweets don't make me go places. I really don't want to. So, I don't know. It never really changed for me. I still am exactly the way I am. And I still feel pretty goddamn good. I mean, I know a lot of people who, and I guess this is also a thing, I know a lot of people who are like friends of friends and stuff, and basically have decided that they're just going to wear the same version of the button-up flannel shirt just forever. The thing that was like a hipster joke, that they wore the button-up flannel, and now that's everybody just wears. They're like dad shirts now. That's what they wear. And I legitimately had one of my little brother's friends say something like, I hate the fact that one day I'm going to have to grow up and reach a point where I just have to get rid of all the posters on my wall and all the figures and displays and things that I have. I remember he said that like on Facebook or something, and I was like, who told you have to do that? Like, who said that you have to do that? It was really weird, because he was like, well, I mean, that's what you have to do when you grow up, right? And it's like, you've never been in my office. It is absolutely just covered in weird posters and shit, because I don't care. These are the things I like. I have no idea why you would think... Like, I don't have anything hanging on the walls. Well, not a lot. Hanging on the walls in, like, my bedroom, for example. But that's because of the design of, like, the furniture and the room, and it looks better minimalistic. So I try to keep everything as minimalistic as possible. Because it's not a very big room to begin with, and minimalism does work in certain spaces. I mean, I literally just have a big glass cabinet full of weird shit. Signed CDs and trinkets that I think are cool. So I have no idea where that came from. That was confusing. It was weird. But, yeah. I just kind of wanted to chat with you guys for a minute. This is not a long podcast, but kind of let you know that, yes, I ran into Kay. There really wasn't much neckbeardery to talk about, because he seems to have gotten out of that. Mainly, I think it's because from time to time he has to work with, like, freshman college students, I think, is how he put it. And it's, like, realizing that, a lot of them do come into this area where he works, and they're like neckbeardy. And I guess that brings out a certain thing in you when you're just like, my God, I used to think like that. Oh, you poor soul. Well, maybe one day you'll grow out of it. We can only hope. That being said, the other of the I guess it would be a quadtet? 4. Let's go with that. Neckbeard, who basically kind of sort of maybe started all this when it came to Neckbeard stories. I heard from you. He messaged me on Facebook randomly. Just send me a 40-minute video of this dude who looked like William Brumfield in a cowboy hat reciting a poem about why black people shouldn't kneel for the pledge when they feel offended. And then demanded that you need to share this with everyone you know. And I replied with, well, first off, no. I'm not going to do that. Because I'm not starting shit fights on Facebook. Fuck off. And 2, even if it was something I agreed with wholeheartedly, why the fuck would I share something you sent me? You haven't spoken to me in 5 goddamn years. You don't talk to me. We're not friends. Why the fuck would I all of a sudden do what you tell me to do? I really think the best part of this entire conversation is I felt it was really necessary to just be this petty, because sometimes it just can be. It's fun. And he was like, oh, well, you don't have to, but I need to, like, do the Facebook video call. And I was like, no, I'm going out. And he's like, well, it'll only take like 5 minutes. And I was like, no, I'm leaving right now. You messaged me as I'm trying to walk out the door. I am going somewhere right this second. I actually was. I was going to help G-Man with something. And he's just like, oh, well, I'm married now. And I just wanted you to know that. Cool. And it's like, so where are you going that's so important? Like, I'm going to get fucking wasted. I'm going to a party, goddammit. That's my favorite part, is he's just like, oh, well, I didn't know that. Well, what party? And I was like, mine. Oh, I didn't know you were having a party. Well, I suppose I might, since I turned 32. I'm 32, if you didn't know. Now I am. In unicorn years, I'm actually like 7. But, you know. It's a different timetable. So, yeah, and he was just like, well, I didn't know that. And I was like, yeah, I'm surprised you didn't. Considering you were the one who went on big tangents about how I was not supposed to be friends with anybody who you disagreed with because I was supposed to be your friend. And how if I even so much as spoke to someone you didn't like, I was the worst person ever. Even though it was my ass who kept you from getting the shit kicked out of you when you decided to hit on a 15-year-old girl. Should have just let him do it. Should have just let him do it, but I was like fucking 21, so, you know, when you're stupid and young, you do stupid and young things. Nowadays, if I even knew somebody who's like my friend and just like, oh, yeah, well, I like to hit on 16-year-olds, like, well, if they kick your ass, I mean, that's just what's going to happen. I'm not going to help them. You know? I'm not going to stand up for you. You decided to do that. It's really illegal. You know that, but I mean, that's what you want to do, so okay. So yeah, this is the little Neckbeard update plus some other shit. It's kind of weird, because one would think, with Mew being the eldest of the two, he would be the first one to grow up and move on. He did not. Yes, he's married. He's married to someone who's exactly like him. I did eventually, kind of, sort of, he decided to send me a bunch of pictures while I was at the party, quote unquote, while I'm out with like 3 people. And, yeah. The thing I noticed is, like, yeah, they're not, I'm not going to insult his wife because I don't know this person. I don't know. I don't know anything about her. I will say that the house they were in is, well, it reminded me of his old house. There's a lot of stuff that just can't seem to find its way out the door. So, okay, he didn't change. I have no idea where he is right now. I have no idea where he lives. None of that. He didn't bother to tell me any of that. Even when I messaged him back later, nothing. After that, the entire point of messaging me was to send me this weird God wants you to stand for the pledge video, which was awkward. And I swear to God, this guy looked like William Brumfield. It was really fucking weird. I kept waiting for him to say, God wants you to stand for the pledge, but if you can't, diabetes. It was super fucking weird. I have no idea why he sent me that. Oh, no, I do. It's chain letter. Last time he actually spoke to me, and this is true, last time he actually spoke to me was like I said, about 5-6 years ago. And the message he sends me is this long fucking paragraph about how he doesn't want his pictures being used by some kind of advertisement company because Facebook is going public. To which I replied, they're not going to use your pictures in advertisements. And he said, well, how do you know when Facebook goes public, they could just do that? And I replied, they're not going to because Facebook went public in 2004. You are 15 years too fucking late. The fact that you can see advertisements on Facebook right now means that they already went public. Otherwise, they wouldn't fucking do that. Because when they went to a publicly traded company and not just an internet social network, you can put ads in it. How the fuck did you not know this when you read that big statement? Or did you just not read it and were so convinced that someone was going to use your likeness to sell fucking Lysol or some shit that this is the only thing you could come up with? Dude, no. And I think my favorite part was he said something about well, how do you know they might use your likeness? To which I replied, I shitpost on Facebook like a motherfucker. I would love if they used my images. Because a lot of my images are really stupid. A lot of them are really fucking dumb. I was the only person in a circle of friends who commented on a friend's, I don't know, some kind of announcement, somebody got a new car, and I'm the only one out of this entire group who's all have pictures, their profile pictures, this is what this guy looks like, this is what this lady looks like, back and forth through the whole thing. And here I am posting with a display image, which is a weird face drawn by P-Lander Yellow, because I just really didn't want to put my own picture up. And I thought that was a cool picture, so I did it. It's this weird Mickey Mouse looking thing. He's this weird mouse monster with all these crazy designs. So no, I really don't fucking care about that, because all I do is shitpost anyway. I just can't believe that he sent that. It was they're going public. It's they've been public for 10 years. It's what the fuck are you talking? How do you think they get traded on Wall Street and shit? Oh my god. So yeah, apparently, as I said before when he first sent me all this stuff, Mew has basically become Neckbeard Grandpa. He still has a lot of the Neckbeard beliefs about how women's is supposed to only listen to her man and things like that. And it's really creepy, but also he fucking posts internet memes shared by groups with names like God and Country and shit like that. It's just you don't know me. Because if you knew me, you knew that I would absolutely make fun of shit like that. And I do. It doesn't matter what side of the political fence you are. If it's really stupid, I'm going to point at it and laugh. That's just what I do. I don't care. I generally don't care about most shit. I just think it's funny. It works for me. It keeps me sane. So, yeah, that's your Neckbeard update and a little bit of stories from Moonhorse. I'm going to go crack open one of these bottles of wine because I think it's party time. So I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. The usual usual YouTube outro. Don't come and subscribe. I have Patreon. Okay, I'm going to go now. Saki's calling me. It's time to get fucking wrecked. Bye.